Miro is an online whiteboard, one of the many digital tools that help teachers and students collaborate and interact in remote environment. Especially in the case of multilingual call, when students and teachers do not necessarily share the same mother tongue, technology enables mutual understanding and the creation of multilingual tasks. Once you create a free account and give a name to your board, like this, you'll be able to invite students by clicking on Invite Members and adding the email addresses. Now you're ready to start your activity. For the purpose of this exercise, I've already created a board. So I'm going to click on the board that I prepared. And now if I have invited students, all of my students will be able to see and edit, collaborate on the same board. There are many different ways you can use this interactive whiteboard. You may search for templates, search for inspiration, and for example, here in the section brainstorming and ideation, you will find sticky notes and mind maps of different kinds. Then you can also decide you want to add text. Then there is the specific sticky note, one of the most popular activities you can do on the board. Then you can draw shapes and even leave comments. And now what I have prepared is an exercise to illustrate precisely what can be done on this board. This very simple activity that I prepared is based on proverbs. So I've added sticky notes, and adding a sticky note is very easy. You simply click on the icon, then you choose a color, and then you decide where you want to put your sticky note. You can also decide whether you want a smaller size or a larger size, and you can change your mind and decide you want to change the color as well. And then you simply type the text in. Now let's go back to the exercise. Start by adding a sticky note and type a proverb in your target language. For the purpose of the exercise, let's say it's English. Now, you may interact with your students via chat or video chat if the exercise is done remotely. If the exercise is done face-to-face, you may ask your students to connect through their devices. At this point, the possibilities are endless. You may ask your students to each think about a proverb in their own language and post it on a sticky note. Here I've used Italian, German, and French, for example. At the same time, you may also encourage them to use the comment function, for example, like this, to add a translation of any proverb they think they understand, either in the mother tongue or in the target language, depending on the type of class and on the purpose of the exercise. Once the board has been populated with sticky notes, as it is here, more layers of exercise can be added, such as asking the students to match each proverb to its meaning, group proverbs that focus on the same topic. For example, here we have one proverb in Italian and one in German that center around gold. Or maybe do further research to find more similar ones across languages, or even classify the proverbs according to whether they express, for instance, general attitude, ethics or values, or general truth. This is also an opportunity to understand how different languages, and therefore different cultures, perceive reality. For example, here, let's look at this sticky note. In Italian, a swallow does not make a spring, but as I wrote in the comments, both in German and in English, does not make a summer. This kind of interactive lesson may also become a preliminary task to be used before a lesson on idioms and culture. Of course, there are plenty of other ways you can use Miro, depending on how much freedom or structure you need. If you want more structure, in the case of the illustrated exercise, you may use the brainwriting template. There it is. And basically, the sticky notes have already been provided. and organized neatly. So you can do the same exercise, perhaps by already encouraging your students to divide the types of proverbs depending on the colors that have been provided. So I hope this example was useful and that you can successfully integrate Miro into your plurilingual classroom, remotely or face-to-face.